right, we'll call to order the Raleigh County Commission regular session. The record show Tuesday, December 10th, 2024. All three commissioners present. We'd ask that you stand for the opening prayer by Michael King with the Mount Tabor Baptist Church and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we read in your word this directive. Let every soul be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. So, Lord, with that, we acknowledge our dependence on you and ask you to guide these men and women this morning as they perform the duties of governance representing the people of this county. Today, whether they deal with new matters or issues that continue to need attention, give clarity of thought, cooperative spirits. Where difficult matters might demand their attention, provide wisdom and discernment as to the best resolution of the issues. And in all that transpires this morning, we pray that individually and as a commission and as each participant here, we might adjourn with a sense of satisfaction in the discharge of the responsibilities of this day. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, exonerations. Do I have a motion to accept the exonerations?
Personal property, there's no refunds, 2 exonerations, 1 cancellation. Real estate, 1 exoneration, no cancellations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dee Dee. I believe we have no budget revisions. We'll start with, since you're standing here.
Sharon, this is just a letter from the commission to the State Tax Department Mineral Division to continue. They have our permission to continue working until the last PRE hearing.
Okay, so that's the consideration of approval for the State West Virginia Natural Resources Appraisal continuation for the tax year 2025. Do I have a motion to accept that as described?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, got approval of the bid for the boiler removal of the Raleigh County Courthouse.
Okay, we received 3 bids for the boiler removal at the courthouse. First, Casto Technical Services, $57,000. Second bid was Aztec Corporation Incorporated, $37,400. And the last one was Childers Air Plumbing Electric, $22,000. So I've reviewed all this and recommend we go with Childers for $22,000.
Okay, Childers, what's the full name again on the Childers?
Childers Air Plumbing Electric, just Childers Enterprises, aka
What's that number again?
22,000.
Do I have a motion to accept the bid for the Raleigh County Courthouse boiler in the amount of $22,000 by Childers Enterprises?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the consideration of the rate increase for the Raleigh County Public Service District.
Yes, sir. I have with me today our attorney Tim Stranko and our accountant Mr. Dobbins, so they'll make the presentation for us.
Morning, Mr. President, Commissioners. I'm proud to speak on behalf of Raleigh County PSD. I have to stay in my practice. First, I have to say, every time I drive down here, it's such a beautiful place. I know you live here, you probably forget that sometimes. I wanted to remind you of how special it is here. rather be here than in the Eastern Panhandle, for instance, but we'll pick on them. I'm proud of this PSD and my relationship with them. You know, when they're asked to do projects, they do them. And it's difficult as a countywide PSD to serve, meet all the requirements and ever-increasing regulatory requirements they have to meet to serve a disparate population as they do. You know, rates aren't the only way to evaluate a public utility. There's certainly one way, and your constituents are concerned about rates. I wanted to tell you this story, is that when you look at the Public Service Commission's website, they rate all 334 utilities as to their rates. Well, and if you just look at that, your PSD is at 118. It's in the upper third as far as rates go. But that's really not a very good measure, a rough measure, let's say, because we're comparing apples to oranges here. Small municipalities with 3 square miles are in this list, you know, and utilities don't do much. And that's certainly not the case here. When you pull out, as I've done here, the countywide PSDs, you see that the Raleigh County PSD has got the second lowest of all the countywide PSD rates in the state. Logan County is the only one lower than Raleigh County, and I would ask you to consider the economic conditions there compared to here. So we're certainly busier here in Raleigh County. But the rates for 3,400 gallons would be $47.84. And they go, you know, if you had a West Virginia American account, you'd be paying $69.93 for the same amount of water. So God bless the PSD and all the public servants that work there. One of the things the board did wisely was ask Mr. Dobbins to weigh in here. Zach is a renowned utility accountant. And when Zach looks at a utility's fiscal condition, he looks at the regulatory requirements. He understands what the Public Service Commission and the state law wants us to do, and the needs of the customers. And in this case, as Zach's going to describe, the board and Zach worked together to make sure that whatever increase they recommended would fall less heavily on lower consumption customers, which are generally your elderly and perhaps lower income customers. So with that, I will turn it over to the expert, and Zach will describe. And this is science. This is not poetry. Zach crunches the numbers, and here's what we got.
My name is Zach Dobbins. I'm with firm Bennett & Dobbins out of Fairmont. I've met part of you before. I've been here to discuss rates with you. I've got a handout here I'd like to give you just so you can sort of follow along. It's just a quick overview of what we've been working with the county PSD. And what we've got, they asked me to look at their rates. They had several items that have been going on. One of the issues that they've had was that when the Bureau of Public Health comes in, they do inspections on the district. And one of the big issues we've had, and you probably saw it with West Virginia Water, was there was an issue where one of the hydrants wasn't working. There was a large fire, and they were not able to get that put out in the Charleston area. So one of the things that's happened is there's a hydrant replacement and upgrade program that has to happen. So that's approximately $185,000 that we've built into these rates to try to work on over time. And then the other problem that you get into is it's just like with meters. Meters are supposed to last 10 years. A lot of times they don't. So it's an ongoing process that we've got to try to continue to be able to be proactive for the replacement and the maintenance of these items. Some of the other things that we go through when we're evaluating this rate increase, right now with the size of the district, they're short-staffed. You guys know that. You experience that every day. We're looking at approximately 8 employees, looking at hiring those. The other items that we've looked at also is Beckley Water had just increased their rates. Those go into effect soon. I know that Beckley Water is working on some other projects, so their rates are going to continue to go up. That dollar amount, when we're looking at factoring in for an O&M adjustment here, that those Beckley Water increases, the ones that currently went in and what we anticipate coming, are approximately $400,000. You know, that's just a number that the district just cannot absorb. Just the last 2 years alone, PIA each year in July has gone up 14%. Yes, sir.
Quick question. The Beckley water increase is gonna cost PSD about
$400,000, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And if we're going along, I ramble. If you guys have questions, just stop me. But those are a few of the things we've done. The other thing we've done too is that the district has a lot of good employees. We've tried to build in some COLA adjustments. And one of the things that we've done too is we've tried to build in COLA adjustments for the next few years so that we don't have to continue to come back to the county and try to raise those rates each year. Electrical costs have gone up. We're looking at approximately $60,000 for electrical costs a year. The other item that we've built in also, we've got the Senate Bill 234 adjustment, which that requires the district to put away 12.5% of their O&M expenses into a reserve each year. And they put that away for extraordinary purposes. And then as that money accumulates, one of the things that the PSC said that they would like to see some of the districts do is, you've got money set aside for extraordinary purposes. Then if we have a larger amount than what we really need set aside, we can reach in and take some of that money and use it for projects. And what that does is that the next time they get ready to do a project, and maybe we have some money there that we can pay for design, preliminary design, some geotechnical services, things of that nature, then if you have a $20 million project, maybe we only have to borrow 19, maybe we only have to borrow 18. Yes, sir.
So you said 12.5% for that reserve fund?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that every year, 12?
Every year.
And
That's
is it
correct.
capped?
No. That's
So it can
12
raise to whatever?
That's exactly right. And the one good thing about that fund is that you've got that money setting aside, and you know, right now, at their current operations, that's about $600,000 a year. And I always tell people, I said, that'd be a lot of money if we put it on the kitchen table for us. You know, but when I start looking at with the district and it, you know, pumps go down, you know, we're talking about just some of these hydrant replacements, a couple $100,000. You know, I can't imagine what the cost would be right now if we had to upgrade the metering system, because it's not as simple. You can't just go get meters. You've got the radio read meters, so then you have to get new software, all of those types of things. And the good thing that I like about this working capital reserve moving forward, I think that it's going to help the district as they move forward along in projects. That's
But
what
it is money that has to come out to put
that
aside,
is correct. Yes,
along
sir.
with the added 400. It's like $1 million.
Right, that's
Okay.
correct, that's correct. Yeah, now the $400,000, the Beckley water, you know, that's just money going into their operation account that we pay out each month. But the cash working capital reserve, that actually goes into a separate account, is what happens there. So when I sat down with the board, we looked at various options as we were going through. And the one thing that we're doing is right now we have two schedules, one for the Raleigh County customers, and then you all probably remember we took over Glen White Track. Well, we have Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 for those folks. We've now worked on combining those two rate schedules so that moving forward, we would only have one set of rates. And the other thing that we've done also, if you look at the handout that I've given you, if you'll go back to the very last page, page 8 there, a lot of your lower income, a lot of your senior citizens, they're going to be in those brackets from 2,000 gallons and down. And currently, those customers are paying $21.24 a month. What the board wanted to do there was to try not to raise those customers as much, because we know that with the senior citizens, yes, every year they're getting a COLA adjustment for their Social Security, but a lot of times that doesn't cover their Medicare and their medicines that they're paying. So what we've tried to do is put a lower rate increase on those folks. So you're looking at, from 2,000 gallons and below, we're looking at approximately a $4.76 a month increase. And then even when we get into the 3,000 and 3,400 gallon bills, those are going to be your families. they're a little bit lower of an increase than once we get to 4,000 and beyond. And a lot of times your 4,000 beyond, those are gonna be your larger customers, those are gonna be commercial customers, and we've tried to put a little more of that burden onto those customers as we go along. But this rate increase, like I said, would help us to be able to do a few things. One, to be able to meet our state requirements with the cash working capital reserve. It'll help us to be able to get in compliance with the Bureau of Public Health and the hydrant replacements. It'll help us to be able to pay these PIA increases for our employees, to hire the new employees as we go along, to be able to pay Beckley's water rate increases that they have coming along, our increased electrical costs, and also be able to try to maintain the current staff that we have for debt service coverage, so we meet all of our bond covenants also.
So an average customer will go up about $4.76.
That would be a customer that was using 2,000 gallons.
Our senior citizens are.
Exactly.
And then the family would go up 11. The family of say 4 would go up $11.73 approximately.
Yeah, that's an approximate number. They used, probably 10 or 12 years ago, there was a study done, and that's where the 3,400 gallon bill that's on there comes from. And I can assure you, as we've gone along, and as, everything's energy efficient, water efficient, the consumptions, and I'm looking at this, I would say you're probably, the more PSDs that I'm working with, that 3,400 gallon average is not going up, it's going down. I would say most districts that I go to are in between 2,700 and 3,000 that you would be looking at for a family. So, you're looking at probably $8 to $9.74 there on most of the families. Now, you get a family that may have 4 children or something like that, of course their usage is gonna be a little higher. But what we're hoping to be able to do right here is, with this rate increase, not come back here for a while. That's our whole goal.
So another question about the fire hydrants.
Yes, sir.
So that's building in, like annual inspections. And I know there's requirements now about how often you have to inspect and test it, is that right?
Exactly, yes, sir.
So that's
And what this will do, this will help them to be able to go through the system, be able to replace all the hydrants in their system, be able to do all the annual inspections and all of the maintenance on a yearly basis to those. Yes, sir.
That's a good thing.
Mr. President, the ask this morning is that the county issue an order approving the rate increase that Zach's just briefed you on. And the county commission can do as it deems appropriate. If you do issue the order, it would not be effective for 45 days from your order, and the Public Service Commission would certainly advertise and invite comment from your constituents and our customers. Thank you.
You all have any other questions for me? Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
If I could, I'd just like to add that Raleigh County couldn't be where we are without the long-term and continuing cooperation and support of the county commission. Thank you for that.
Thank you. But I personally like a little more time. I would entertain a motion to table it for now and give me some more time to look at the numbers and do it well.
So moved.
Do I have a second on the motion to table? Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you all have any questions at all as you're going along, Paul knows how to get hold of me, and I'd be more than happy to answer any further questions you all might have.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
How was your last one?
All right, Billy, moving along, we'll do consideration of the zoning change at 106 and 109 Merritt Drive, Stanford, to include 1.44 acres from R1 to R2, R1 and R2 to B1.
So Nick's here, Nick Akers with Syntec, he's here, he's got some maps. You guys would like to see, I've got a smaller map if Nick don't want to spread his out. However you guys want to do it. This is along Stadium Drive going up to the Beckley baseball stadium. And Merritt Drive, so these two parcels right here that are under consideration. Here, Ethics Aid sits up here, Raglan Road is here, Stadium Drive is here.
Yes.
So, so this parcel right here is currently zoned I-1, industrial. This parcel is currently zoned R1, rural residential. So the consideration is to change both of these to B1 for the purpose of storage units, self-storage units.
Yes.
Any questions before I?
Yeah, good, not on.
So the entrance to this is off of Merritt Drive?
Yes, sir.
Proposed entrance there?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
So, all right, so it appearing to the County Commission of Raleigh County that BC Rental Units LLC filed a petition for a zoning change on property located at 106 and 110 Merritt Drive in Stanford. That's in the Town District Tax Map 21, parcels 106.22 and parcel 90.1 to include 1.44 acres. Is requesting a change from I-1 industrial to B1 commercial, and that's on parcel 106.22, and on parcel 90.1 to change from R1 rural residential to B1 commercial. That petition was presented to the County Commission of Raleigh County and was referred to the Raleigh County Planning and Zoning Commission for its consideration, and a hearing thereon was advertised as required by law, and an affidavit of publication filed with the Planning and Zoning Commission that a public hearing on the said petition was duly held on November the 21st, 2024. And after hearing evidence submitted, the Raleigh County Planning Commission recommends that the petition be approved for the proposed use of self-storage units.
That's it?
Yep.
All right, do I have a motion to consider the rezoning as described by Blaine Michael and as recommended from Planning and Zoning?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
All right, got a consideration of the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority Grant in the amount of $80,000 with a matching amount of $20,000 to be used to upgrade the communications cabling in the Raleigh County Courthouse.
Okay, this is the agreement that we have with the Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority for the data cables, to upgrade them to something that will work with our systems here at the courthouse.
So you get the $80,000 grant and we match the 20?
That's right.
Okay, I get it.
And we'll be advertising that here before the end of the year, so we can try to get this thing done.
Do I have a motion to consider the West Virginia Courthouse Facilities Improvement Authority Grant in the amount of $80,000 as described by Bill?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
I need your signature, President, in two places.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bill, the consideration of a purchase to purchase a snowplow from J&J Fabricating in the amount of $10,319.40.
Okay. So we've only got this one bid, and that's to keep all of our equipment the same. That's currently what we have are those types of plows. I think they're Boss plows. They're the only people around here that sell those kinds. So they are a local company here in Raleigh County. But the plows that we have, one of the plows that this will be replacing is about 19 years old. We've rebuilt it a couple times, the hydraulics, and it's becoming to where it's not as trustworthy as it has been. So this is to somewhat replace that plow, but it's also gonna give us another plow on our service truck. So we'll still have the old plow still working, we'll still keep using it. But in case we have any trouble on this, you know, like I talked to you, we've got a few extra lots that we're paving now, or scraping now as well, so.
And we had talked a couple weeks ago about there's a new facility in Gent now, the sheriff's department out there, and then we do the armory, so with the added stuff, that's what they ask us.
So, and that's for $10,319.40.
All right, do I have a motion to consider the purchase of the new plow as described by the chief?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Since you're still standing, we'll just go right on down the line. Consideration.
Same song and dance. This is for a tailgate spreader to spread salt. And it, you know, goes with the new plow that will go on the new service truck that's a couple of years old that we had. It'd keep all of our equipment the same as before.
All right, do I have a motion to consider the purchase of a tailgate spreader, the control kit, and installation at J&J Fabricating, amount of $2,984.84?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Consideration to purchase 4 police cars for the Raleigh County Sheriff in the amount of, we got $250,000 on there, and we're gonna put some radars and cameras in there, so that amount is actually gonna be $262,502.69.
506.69.
506.
Yes, sir.
2062.
262,506.69.
There's 3 kinds of people. Those who can count and those who can't.
As we talked about before, we need some more police cruisers. We have some that's aging, some that's had a couple recently that's had mechanical problems, that's been taken out of service. This money would allow us to buy 4 new Ford Police Interceptor police utility vehicles. One of the cars would be equipped with a K9 unit, so that will include the purchase of the K9 insert, the heat alarm, and the remote door pop to allow the dog to go out, or in case of a heat, the door will open so the dog can escape and not become a victim of heat-related injury. It will also include camera systems for the cars and the body-worn camera systems for the officers. It's a whole system, and a radar for each police car. Again, the total was $262,506.69.
Not just that, these are RDs in there. These are pretty much planned expenses for these cars that come around about every year, and then it's allocable for each house.
Correct.
All right, do I have a motion to consider the purchase of the 4 police cars in the amount of what Jason said?
$262,506.69.
Do I have a motion to
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. J, consideration of the grant payment request number 2 for the Shady Spring PSD Glen Morgan wastewater treatment plant upgrade amount of $718.50.
This is for engineering services on that plant upgrade, which is going to really increase the capacity in the Beaver, Daniels, Shady Spring area out that way. So again, the amount $718.50.
Do I have a motion to approve the grant as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, consideration of drawdown number 2 for the Raleigh County PSD Sand Branch Waterline extension in the amount of $722.50.
This is for administrative costs and also engineering costs for that project. And again, the amount for this is $722.50.
Do I have a motion to approve the drawdown as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Consideration of the ARPA grant drawdown number 9 for the North Beckley PSD for the Piney View Batoff Mountain Sewer Extension Project in the amount of $11,890.88.
This is for legal services, also administrative services, also for engineering, and also for the West Virginia Department of Highways. Again, the total is $11,890.88. And the good news is this project is moving forward. We've worked on this for about 10 years, and exciting. It's going to happen.
That's good. Do I have a motion to consider the ARPA grant drawdown number 9 as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration drawdown number 1 for the North Beckley PSD line replacement to accommodate the Piney View Batoff Mountain Sewer Extension Project in the amount of $53,000.
This is that water, or I'm sorry, the wastewater pipe that had to be increased in order to handle the capacity from the Piney View sewer extension out near Woodrow Wilson High School. And this is engineering services, and the total again is $53,000.
Do I have a motion to consider the drawdown number 1 for the line replacement as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving through these now. Consideration drawdown number 10 on the West Raleigh Sewer Project for the Bradley PSD in the amount of $6,368.
This is legal services for the West Raleigh sewer extension. Again, the amount's $6,368.
Do I have a motion to consider the drawdown as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries.
Sorry about that.
All right, any no old business, public participation? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all that. I had some questions regarding an estate and probate matter, which I have provided you documents with to hopefully clarify the issue. There's questions as to who owns what, and I've had people trying to remote into my private phones to try and get to financial information. That is not theirs to access. So I'm hoping to clarify that today, and I've spoken with Mr. Rick regarding the matter, and I believe he feels the appropriate place is in the probate office for these documents. So I don't know if you have any other questions, I just wanted to get that on public record.
Good deal.
And I've taken the documents that you were provided a copy of, and we'll put it in the estate and probate, so it's in that file.
I just need to clarify that because the students family, I don't need them getting into my personal financial and causing
You're on the record.
financial hardship. Thank you.
Thank you.
The name of the estate, Kim, the estate of,
Well, this one is specifically Douglas Owen Lilly II. But if there's any other estates that it may apply to, there would be a reference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes.
you have the minutes of the November 1st, 2024 special meeting.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 1st, 2024?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We have the vacation orders from November 19th, 2024 through December 9th, 2024.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as described?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
And we have the following objections or exceptions list for Cecilia Abshire, the following estates: Cecilia Abshire, Betty Barlow, Brenda Bennett, Glenn Blankenship, Randall Bragg, Russell Bragg, Richard Burgess, Donald Canterbury, Billy Carter, Homer Clay Jr., Berman Cornett, Judith Crook, Judith Cullop, Eloise Duncan, Leonard Dunn, Louise Earhart, Bennett Finley, Robert Henderson, Dillard Johnson, Jason Lafferty, Geneva Lilly, Ethel McKnight, Betty Meadows, Arlie Moore, Clifton Page, Daniel Polly, Lois Peelish, Greg Pence, Sandra Pennington, Richard Rice, Bain Surratt, James Scarborough, Virginia Sloan, Larry Stewart, Keith Walker, Ruth Walker, Juanita Winston. And note those for the record.
Those will all be closed.
All right, I don't see anything else. Is there anything else to be brought before the commission today? Our next meeting will be December 17th, 10 a.m. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.